Hey, it's Soul with another video, and today we're taking another look at what designers made with player housing during this second test on the PTR. The test was a little bit jarring as folks lost designs due to bugs with dying, I believe, and had some difficulty getting their homes up correctly in guild neighborhoods. Still, I scoured social media and Discord channels as best as I could to find some clever use of design and some really masterful creation. You can use this video to inspire some ideas of your own. You can, use these ideas yourself. No one owns them really. Or you can get really jealous of other people's talent because I am. Please like this video, subscribe for more web coverage, and catch me where I'm live. First thing I want to show you is this cut from Cottage Wizard, who does a fantastic job of creating this Tauren style tent. You'll notice throughout her video that every detail is covered with lots of creative use of decor resized to turn these items into like something else entirely. She totally comes through with the whole idea of using each piece of decor as like a Lego piece to be manipulated. Like for example, with how she uses this rug and a light source above to create the illusion of the moon up above. Some objects might seem out of place until they're clipped into the floor, and then suddenly we have a table. And you can check out how these drapes with the net, how they're clipped through the wall to just reveal the netting, which is a lot more in character, and then using what looks like either buckets or stools as pegs to hold this up. Now, of course, not everyone's going to nail this little detail right at the start, but it gives an idea of what is possible even as soon as early access begins in just a few weeks. And don't worry, not all the homes we visit here are going to look quite like this, but okay, maybe it's kind of close because they're all very impressive. Let's take a look at Valor Omega over here on Twitter, who has, I'm not going to call it a basic house, but it's just one other way that we can modify the existing decor or the existing, the bones of the house and add more stuff to make it a lot more. So you can see right here, if you can kind of see my mouse cursor, this right here, I believe is a wagon that's kind of sunk in, resized and clipped through in such a way to create what appears to be like an extension of the house. And here we have like a mirror that's, I don't know if it's supposed to be a window or whatnot, but if anything, it's just kind of like an extra side thing to make houses look like a little bit more than what they are. I remember seeing a number of comments talking about how, oh man, WoW is like time gating a whole bunch of these different decors, because when I went to the PTR, I didn't see any of like these extensions or whatnot. And then so I pointed out, it's because you can just take items and then manipulate them how you want to make them look bigger than what they are. And it was a very, very eye-opening thing for them. So other things to point out here, aside from the Anixie head right there, that's very lovely, is the gazebo that's been resized to look like another extension of the house. Like this kind of square area here is just the normal house, and then there's like these built-in extensions which you can get into through the kind of barbershop mode. So you have like a tower, chimney, two sets of windows right there, and then here's another gazebo that has been closed up with boards to create, again, this illusion of the home being a little bit bigger than how it's supposed to. Now here's a very cool and a very pink kind of loft as they're describing it here. So unfortunately, I don't think we can see the area that's below it, but we can see like what's up here is fantastic. Like you can tell like what's up here are parts of trees that help to shape the area around this upper loft and really give it that vibe of, hey, this is like, a very night elven looking house. Then going back to here again, what are we seeing here? Lots of, like I said, pink stuff. So the dyes, I think they're being put to good use. I think that these are not like set by default, but there's lots of these here. I really like the shelf here. It adds a nice little touch by hanging it onto the tree and making it seem like it's built into the house right there. And of course, we see like some smaller stuff. We see like the flowers here, along with the chandeliers to provide some lighting, some very much needed lighting, because otherwise there'd be lots of obstructions here. I see a bucket right over there on the shelf. And then of course, a few more touches with the flowers inside pots and baskets right there. I don't believe those come as is. Those needed to have been added a little bit later by using advanced mode. Very, very cool. Now here's one that's been linked to me a number of times. This one is a cave that they created. Now I believe what we're seeing here are like two hallways and then one large opening, but what this person did was straight up create rocks and other surroundings like all over the place to create this very built-in kind of feel. Like, you like check out the slopes here, and then there's the core on top. It looks almost as if like some of the stuff here was buried, but then of course we have what is a living space. There's a little brazier with some lighting, which there is very little of, but it's still like quite functional. Yeah, this is so neat. He straight up put up some spider webs right on the side, a little bit of decoration there. Kind of interesting touch here by having the bookshelf kind of on its side and then the candles on top, as if this is like a little bit unkept, but they're still like living here because, hey, we have some flowers set up. It looks like those flowers are hanging upside down. Maybe that's I don't know what kind of method, what's going on there, but it's very cool. This is a very cool space and very tightly packed as well. I imagine that most of the budget was probably spent just to basically cover like all the floor space and thin things out in such a way that, it really does look like this cave and there's like foliage here. It's very, very cool. Now, while this one has a very lodge kind of feel, but what I'm really impressed with is how this makes a really good use of the smaller room that is I believe it's called the stairwell. So this is a 2-story kind of room, and what really impresses me a lot is this staircase. I can't quite tell if these are like benches or whatnot, but what really amazes me with setting something like this up is that the person had to like count and accurately measure the number of steps that would be used to climb from here all the way up to the next spot. And I'm kind of curious how they came up with that. Other than that, what we have here is just a very clean looking kind of a lodge or bar area with some empty bookshelves that are waiting to be filled up with stuff. You can see here that there is this upper level that's put together. Actually, the stairs go up to this upper level here, so it goes into another room, but then it descends again to this lower loft-like area, and they even added like some cool supports here to give it that illusion of, yes, it's actually being supported by actual stuff. It's not just magically floating in the air. Really, really cool natural look, and even making use of these like regular stock walls, but it's still very convincing. Okay, so here's another example of a rock house, this one in still pictures. Now it kind of looks as if we're kind of like going through a mine shaft of sorts, and then as we go into what might be a more established house. So like here it's like all rocks. We go right through this door, and hopefully that is going to be like the entrance of the actual space. Let's see if we can actually go inside and explore. Nope, there's more rocks. It's just they built into, so the story is, person comes in, they arrive, and they're just kind of like, they're setting up shop, but there's just still a long way to go. Because here we have more rocks and stuff, more debris to go through. Oh, but then there is a space. There's a cool living space. It's a little bit unkept, according to the creator, but they're kind of like putting things together and they're slowly making for themselves a living space. Now it's inside a cave. You might run out of oxygen, but that's just me being a little bit picky. Oh, and there's even more. So now we have an opening here through this flap that'll take us to some additional space. I believe we can turn some of these candles off, and that's something that I don't think all the different lighting sources are able to do something like that. But it kind of looks like here, it almost looks like this was a regular living space, but then there was like a big cave in and most of it was buried, but then someone came in here trying to salvage like a little bit of what's left. And it looks like we're leaving the space, and out we go. So what we have here is kind of a cool use of color. So instead of what some people would see as, oh, this is like a marketplace bin full of stuff, it's more like they color coded this and created this sort of, kind of a flower bed sort of dealie, which is very cool. And I think there's like one other shot here. Yeah, here we go. Now this is a really cool use of these dividers, which I don't know what they're called because I don't have any sort of that comprehension. But this is another good use of the stairwell room, because you can see on the side there are these ascensions here. Now, the way that these are spaced are also interesting because there's like this bit of a gap. So instead of the designer here just laying platforms on top of each other, they went through the trouble of creating separations here. I do wonder if we're able to just kind of walk up this naturally, or do we need to like use the space bar to like jump all the way up to the space? That'll be kind of interesting to find out. But I really like this divider here. It creates this you know, it's a wall, but it's not really a wall because you can see right through it. And I think that's a cool effect. Next here we have a single picture of this fireplace, but this looks like it is, well, I think they call it a modern fireplace, but this is made up of a whole bunch of different things. So I think this right here is like a wall section. Here is like a beam that was resized to be kind of like the foundation for the fireplace. This here is, I believe this is like a wall section that is meant to open a door. And it's just been kind of like put against the wall, but dragged out a little bit to create this little space. And then they put some fire there, which is very cool. And then we have another beam set up here with the candles. We have the little accented with the green stuff. Very cool. It's a very interesting way to create a different kind of fireplace. If you wanted something that's a little bit more flat and against the wall, but you don't want to, but you still want to have like an effective fireplace looking thing. And then we got something that I found to be very tasteful, but also very simple. They made a bathtub. So I think what they did here is they probably grabbed an asset that just has water in it. I'm not too knowledgeable of what that is. It might be like a fountain of sorts. And then it might be phased into here perhaps, but well, I'm not sure. But then all they took was some basic beams, like the one I showed you in the earlier screenshot, and they resized them a little bit, rearranged them a little bit to look like these large stone blocks that are helping to create the space. And then there's like little bath stuff. There's like some soap and a little scrubby thing and candle right there. All that's missing is just like some wine. And I love the pillow. The pillow along with the other color coordination looks pretty awesome. Next, we go back outdoors to a yard, a very simple yard, but also very cool. They set up, I can't tell if, I think this is like a single piece that's here that's been phased into the side. There's a little bit of there's a bit of an elevation there. They used the little fence there as railings. And I think those are like those are either small stools or benches that are being used for that. But you climb up and then we have like a bar, a couple of places to sit, chill, hang out. Oh, that's a grill. Oh, that's cool. And I think that's a little hamburger patty. Ah, that's hella funny. Okay, that's very cool. I like that little touch there. Very cozy, very neat. What else to point out? These little rails, these work out like just fine. I think there are others that are usable as well. So once we're able to expand on the different decor that we can purchase and buy and acquire, this little yard can look very, very flush with like, exact matching sets and pieces and whatnot. So there's a lot more that we can do here. So my mom was in town for about a month during October, and during that she was like nonstop watching Viking shows, I think it was one from the History Channel. And this is, I hope, this is what they're trying to pull off here, because that's what's screaming at me now. Like having like the main hall of like some Norse-looking village. That's kind of what I'm getting here. And this is very cool. I think there was like some other shots that they have set up here in separate spots. So this is, they said it's a remake of the original. These right here, if we can go back one, this is a very, very detailed. Because when you look at this, these are all planks, not planks. These are all platforms that were set up. Here's the actual floor. And so you have like this raised area. We have where you would like, I think, cook stuff like here in the middle. This is really neat. I really like how this is set up by using the rounded room and creating this whole banquet vibe. I like this one a lot. It's very, very cool. Okay, I was shown this the other day, and I'm still not entirely sure what I'm looking at. Like, is this supposed to be like a windmill looking thing? Because it looks wild. This is this is just the most ridiculous thing. I think a guildmate linked this to me and said, "Yeah, dude, you can use this to make it look like a turbine for your engine." At the moment, this is just kind of, nausea inducing. Like I better stop this for like just a moment and just kind of skip through. This thing's wild. So this person, I think they just took this object, which I'm still not entirely sure what it is, and they just stacked a whole bunch of them together, which I find absolutely hilarious. This is such an eyesore, and some people are just going to be like, they're gonna absolutely hate it if someone were to put something like this up. But what can you do if someone were to decide to put like a monstrosity like this right up here? What? I don't know what this is. I think this is a windmill or something like that. But it's the effect that's being made there is just crazy. Here, one more look, because this is, yeah, I don't know what this is. Okay, so now we have another example of the extendy house that makes use of some of the outdoor assets. So, here's this small part, like here's the house, and then here is, I believe, the wagon that's being, that's being enlarged and kind of pushed a little bit. These are being used, like these little market bins, they're being used to obfuscate, whatever's down here, because I believe this is where you start seeing the wheels, and the designer here, just wanted to hide that. Oh, this is cool. They set up a cool little rock garden kind of thing over here. That's neat. So you have that, plus the fountain that's right over there, and then the rock trail that sort of leads up to it. Okay, you can't see it from there, but I think there might be some other shots. Yeah, that's cool. That's really neat, because they set up like this little kind of watery thing right over on the side. Yeah, I hope that when the dyes work and everything, that the dyes that are available here will also match what is available if we were to edit the house. That way we can get like some matching stuff in. And hey, look, they're making some wine or some sort of like favorite beverage right over there. Very cool. Next, we have a very, very tasteful looking kitchen. The two things that immediately jump out at me is the kind of like fake window. I'm not saying it's fake like it's a bad thing, but this is very cool. Fake window that's outside, that'll lead us to some like vegetation and whatnot. And then there's what looks like a stove here. So I think that is it's either upside down or something, some sort of like fireplace. And I think that's also a fireplace, but it's flipped upside down. And then there's like a grill with like stuff on it. And that's hella cool. Now, this one caught my eye because at some point I also want to set up like my cool secret, like crazy laboratory or my gun control area. And I just wanted to see like an example of like these connecting pipes and how all that stuff works out. And at least with these default sizes, it looks like it could be very, very impressive. I think what I want to do at some point is kind of create this kind of rocky area to make it look as if it's like, it's like behind the house, under the foundations or something like that. And then have like these pipes that lead into like some contraption or doohickey, followed by a control room or a control console that lets me see the gun. So it would be a way for me to have like around certain parts of the house, I'll have like these pipings and whatnot set up, so that way people can understand, oh, okay, it's one part cafe, it's one part house and whatnot. But like if you look deep enough, you can see like just how the gun that I have outside, how it all comes together. So this will be very cool. This is a very cool inspiration. Okay, once again, I think we're looking at the 2-story stairwell. Although this is very, very cozy. Like this is a very tight space that's being set up here, because I think I'm seeing like some fake walls over here. There's a hallway down there. There's a doorway that leads somewhere else. This lower area here, while it might not be dyed, I guess, because they probably didn't want to go through any of the bugs, it's very filled out. It's very decorated with things that make sense. And I think up here is a sort of a bathroom, kind of a not bathroom, a platform with a sitting spot, because I think that's a rug and you can, whoever's up there can just kind of chill. What really impresses me though are the use of what again are benches, and these benches are being used to create this staircase. You can tell like these right here, these are just like fences and whatnot, but it still works just fine to help prevent anyone from falling off while they're trying to run up here. And from the looks of it, I feel pretty confident that this is the kind of staircase that you can just walk up, no problem, and then go up to the second level where you can just kind of chill and do your thing. And I think we have like a bit of a different angle here. It actually looks like this might be a low ceiling. Yeah, this actually might be a single floor, and we could just climb up, and then there's just kind of like this nook area. So maybe this is like a sort of a sleeping area. That's really neat. Okay, this one is incredibly impressive. These are a lot of stairs, dude. And we saw it, or I was showing this off on a different video, and this seems to be like another one that's kind of, I don't know if it's from the same person, but this is incredible. Like, I love this staircase thing that's going on here. I'd really like to see at some point Blizzard come out with something that can help us create a proper like a stair rail when we're doing like these custom staircases. But this one is just extremely impressive. Each beam here is meticulously placed, and I wondered to myself, like when they set this up, did they use the mouse wheel to rotate, or did they actually measure and calculate like the exact number of degrees that are going to be used when creating one step to the next? Because this looks, it's hard to tell if it's perfectly symmetrical, but I'm convinced that it kind of is. It's very, very well done. And again, I'm very impressed on how basically they need to count the number of stairs correctly to get this measurement right, because if you count too many or too few, you're not going to be able to stick the landing correctly. And this does look like this does look very natural, and the kind of steps that you'd be able to just walk up without having to jump. Very, very cool. All right, next we have a modest bathroom, but it pulls off really well. There's no windows, not a problem. My bathroom has no windows. I don't know why, it's kind of weird, but we have our vanity. Very cool. We have our empty shelf, which will hopefully be, we'll have plenty of stuff to add on to that at some point. We have our little bathtub, and I think this is a very clever use of what is meant to be a table. So instead, this is just kind of like phased into the wall a bit to create this kind of side countertop, so that this person who's chilling here, they can, put their phone or whatever, their WoW phone, right here on the counter while they chill. All right, moving on to another outdoor decor. This one is, I believe, supposed to be a horde-based house, but it is definitely not, because it is just caked. It's caked with all sorts of other stuff to make it look otherwise, but it's very cool. We have this elevation that seems to, I believe this overlaps the original elevation that's put in for this horde entrance, and then you just have all sorts of other stuff that's surrounding the thing to make it look like, something else entirely. I think this is like really cool. I think there's like another one we can take a look at. Yeah, check it out. This is neat, because now it feels like this particular house is really built into the zone, or at least it's more built into the zone, as opposed to like just a straight horde barracks, horde sort of building that kind of stands out. This still very much stands out, but less so. Like, it looks like it's trying to match what's going on here, and it helps when you have like the colors matching a little bit. The blue might be a little bit off, but that's kind of limitation right now. But then there's also vegetation to help to blend this house into the rest of the environment. All right, here we have another bar, and this time it's actually making use of the pre-made staircases that are provided. It's just that instead she decided to use like the underside area to be like the bar and kitchen area, which is very cool. It's all filled out. There's like stuff there. Got extra mugs for more customers that come in, places to vibe. What is that? Oh, that's fruit. I thought that was like a little creature of some sort, like right there, that's about to like eat like other little creatures, but it's fruit, so it's just fruit. Oh, that's cute. There's like a little barrier there, so that way you don't have hooligans who are trying to jump back and trying to get at the other product. And here's a closer look at what's going on. Oh, this is very cool. So they went through the trouble of like resizing a bunch of stuff so they can tuck it into these areas, because otherwise I believe this shelf is mostly empty. I think these shelves right here, I think those are included, but then the rest of these are filled out by other stuff. And here we get a bit closer of a look at the thing that's not a creature, it's fruit buddy, followed by like a little keg and a bit of a better perspective of the serving area. Neat. Next we have another bit of a cave vibe here. Now this one seems to have like the illusion of water down here, and that's pretty cool. And then that's going to lead somewhere else. Let's see if we can. Oh, this is actually the skybox kind of area. So from the looks of it, let me go back one. So this entire area, it would be this is inside the skybox room, which means that they created like all the walls around this, and then they added like little ledges to put like stuff on top of. And I like the illusion here of this being water that's growing outwards. That's pretty neat. Okay, so I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure this is a horde building, but then they caked it even more than the other spot. So it looks like there was like some wild experiment, some like shamanistic experiment that happened here, and everything went wrong. And now all of a sudden the house is just being possessed by this by mountainous and by this overgrowth of sorts. That's hella cool though. I didn't think that you'd be able to like cover the whole freaking place, but they definitely did that. So it's kind of a cool spot because of the elevation here and its location. Like everyone's gonna see this, and it's going to be like, oh, what is that? Is that built? Is that part of the zone? No, it's not part of the zone. It's like someone's, the illusion of like this ruined house. But it's very, very cool. I like this one a lot. Okay, here we have another person who's taking advantage of the entire skybox room, which is a real big pain to set up right now because there are bugs with it. You can't really set the floor correctly, but this person went through the trouble of doing it, and now we get to kind of see it in action. So in this case, at least from this perspective, we're not seeing a whole lot of like the green area that would really like throw us off and kind of get us out of the immersion. If we just have like this, this vantage point where we can see this far in the distance, and as we come out here, it still looks very convincing. It still looks like we are at this like very high elevation, this isolated spot away from the world, looking down or looking away from everything else. And like this is very impressive because they straight up like made a whole bunch of rock terrain and like little bridge-like areas to create this further illusion of being this separate space. Now here is where we kind of like run into like, I guess, the wall, because I believe this is where the floor meets the wall, but they're still building into it. So while walking in it, it might kind of dispel the illusion. At least looking through this, it still looks pretty convincing. And this is a really cool shot. This here is a really cool shot. Now, I believe that this light source, it's not coming from anywhere. I think it might be coming from like this right here. But I really like what they did with this rock stuff. Do we have more? Okay, cool. So we have like this, we have a little bit of this where I guess there's like a ramp that's being made so you can start climbing up. And even the illusion of water here, of a little waterfall that's going up here. And then here's like the peak of it. This is so neat. This is a really, really cool use of the skybox. While you're up here, I'm not quite sure how it's going to look when you're looking down at everything, but it's still, it's a very, very good first try. So yeah, actually here it is. So here we are at this higher elevation, and we can kind of see the illusions being dispelled here. But here's something that I also found very, very impressive. This road here. I don't know if we have like other shots. Yeah, so all of these are platforms. All these are platforms that are being placed down, and from the looks of it, wow. Okay, this is even more impressive now. Each beam here is a separate thing that this designer put in to create this kind of border. Instead of it being like just kind of like this awkward elevation, they created like this sort of accent line across all of these like different roads. So, yeah, sure, the skybox is a little bit flawed here, but that's more like a Blizzard thing for right now. And we just need like more kinds of parts and more things to give us the illusion of distance here. But otherwise, this is a very, very well made floor and bunch of accents to create this illusion, right? And we have, once again, a very cool foresty vibe. I'm not quite sure if this is indoors or outdoors, but kind of breaking things down, here we have what looks like multiple benches that end up creating this sense of stairs. We have all sorts of foliage to give a different sort of ambient vibe. Bookshelf, other stuff. Let's see if we can get more shots here. There's a moonwell. Oh, that's cool. But it's not really moonwell. I think that's like, shucks. It's not water, but it's just like this kind of like bright, this bright asset. So there might be things under it. There might be things above it that's going through to create this sort of light projected texture. This is very neat. It pulls off this illusion extremely well. Yeah, I like this one because it's like, it is indoors. This is like right inside the house, but it's also not. Like, it feels like you're immediately outside, but I don't think this is using like the skybox. I don't think it really needs to. So like, here's another close look at what look like are benches that create these stairs. There looks like it's a little kind of a nook area. That you can like just kind of hang out in or sleep in this case. And we have a lot of like this night elf looking color palette. Very convincing. I like it. Okay, this one I just found cool because it's creating the illusion of a quilted blanket. Now, of course, it's not. It's just kind of elevated like that. And so when when the person takes their character out here, these things are just going to float. But who cares? This is cool. It's one of these really cool moments where you can create like a very convincing screenshot, if nothing else. But I like this one. And then finally, we have this sort of library, which pulls off the indoor natural vibe very, very well. We have like, these very appropriate structures that help to hold this tree in. That goes all the way up to the second floor elevation. We have, I believe these are benches again that are being used, and they seem to curve. They curve in such a way that they'll go up to the second floor. And it looks like these are platforms, not just beams. There are platforms that are being set up. There are fences that are being used to make connections. And of course, we have like the very pretty lights. Maybe it's a little out of character, but who cares? Like, it's very cool to have like this kind to have something like this. And then I don't think, can we see what's upstairs? No, can't see what's upstairs, but I'm going to assume it's going to be more books or a place to sit and hang out. And it looks like there's an outdoor area here too. It just looks like that's being a little bit closed off, but it helps to bring in some of that light. And for now, that is what I have to show you for this week from the PTR. I did my best to try to find all sorts of different cool things to look at and other cool styles, techniques that people found out. And I really, really hope that once housing does go into early access, or once it goes live, that I'll be able to do more live looks into different neighborhoods, so I can visit a whole bunch of houses and get like much, much closer looks. So we can give, an even closer look at some of what people are able to come out with, because these are some really, really talented things that people have been thinking of that I couldn't even dream to do. Like, I've been a deer in headlights when it comes to all this housing stuff, and so I haven't been really trying my best to come up with these very imaginative things. It's mostly been me like experimenting, and when it comes down to it, I'm gonna pull off like simple things. Like, I've been wanting to just do a cafe and let myself grow from there. I do want to do this whole wonky gun and the control room, because I think that's going to be a lot of fun, and I just want to focus on those things for now. But seeing these inspirations, seeing these kinds of things that are being used, it is, it's making me think, oh, what kind of variation of that can I do? And I need to stop myself, because otherwise I'm just going to stretch myself in all sorts of different directions, buy way too much decor than I need. And I really want to try and take this slow and steady and very chill. So I want to thank you guys for doing some exploring with me, and promise I'm going to have more of these features as we're able to look at more housing in the weeks and months and whatever's to come. So if you don't mind, like this video, subscribe for more WoW content, catch me live, and I'll catch you later. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.